All right, we're back, and this is part 2 of how to wheelie any bike, but in this case, it's going to be on the Grom. In the first one, we got our bike ready, we got ourselves ready, and we did some drills to get to this point, which you're hopefully ready for. And hopefully we hadn't had any incidents at that point. But what we're going to do, and I'm going to demonstrate this, we're going to pick up where we left off. And if you've gone on and learned from this point, a lot of people develop that feel and they just take it and go. And I'm no expert at this, but that's a great thing because a lot of people that are wanting to try these things aren't experts. And the people that are a lot of times do these videos are so good at it, they look past certain things. And some of these things that I've talked to you about were kind of starting to become elementary, and so I didn't think of them at the right time, like our clutch lever and our location and some of these other things. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you a few demonstrations here of we were just popping it up, getting that front wheel, getting used to that front wheel, getting up. And this is going to take days of you making these attempts and using that rear brake. Use a rear brake, use a rear brake, use a rear brake. And what you're going to need to do is make sure that your bike is continually in good working order. Make sure you're not wearing out your kit, your brake pads, your brake fluid's all good. And, this isn't a how-to work on your bike, even though this is Dewey's Garage. What we're going to do now is we're going to start working on getting that wheel farther up and modulating our throttle and rear brake. And I'm going to try to demonstrate that for you. This isn't the best location because there's some slope to this parking lot, but that's also good practice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you a few things from the tripod over here. Then I'm going to get you and put you on board here, and I'm going to try to walk you through some of those points. And at the end of this video, it's going to be up to you to further develop your own feel and describe it how you want to. And it's kind of one of those things, it's where you're not hunting and pecking on the keyboard anymore. It's a matter of how proficient you're going to be at typing. Do people still type? I don't know. But it's going to be more and more. The other analogy would be like, all right, you're not stumbling along really slowly trying to read. You can read complete sentences, and you can use the right pauses at the beginning and end of sentences, and it's no longer see, spot, run, this sort of things. You're reading in full eloquent sentences, and you're doing it fluidly. And it's going to be about how much you put into it and beyond, because my skill only goes so far, but it's taken me a long way. The main thing that I wanted to do when I was learning wheelies was I wanted to look really cool when I was on the track and I was doing the last lap on the track with my GSXR 1000 or on my Supermoto, and I've accomplished that. Some of you may have higher expectations, and you may want to be using handbrake, you might want to be scraping, all those things. That's a possibility. It's just a matter of how far you want to take that technique. This is getting the basics down. That's what I'm wanting to share. So I'm going to do a couple little examples of bringing it farther back. I'm going to start from this direction. You won't see my foot going. And, I'm a little rusty, so bear with me. And what the main thing that we're wanting to do is, this is a relatively small parking lot, but make it across the parking lot. But I'm using rear brake and I'm giving it more gas. I'm still wheeling. I know it's out of frame. We'll get there. But the main thing is you're going to want to get to, I'm going to try to show that to you in frame here. I'm going to clutch it up. There's a bump over here, so that's going to mess me up a little bit. And what I'm doing was there in that area where it's basically balance point. There's a sport bike going by. But the big thing is going to be giving it gas and being able to get to the point where you're letting off of the gas a little bit and modulating it. See, I don't have my foot, I wasn't dragging the rear brake, and then I was releasing and I was still giving it gas. And some people would call that brake, R-A-P-I-N-G. And but basically what I'm doing is getting more and more comfortable with bringing it farther back. And at a certain point, at the more comfortable that you become, you might just be able to use the engine braking and be ready with your brake to be able to bring it back down. But that's the main thing is, I'm not really able to show you specifically from the point of view in which you're seeing, but go back and watch some of those points and what my rear brake is doing, and you might see a few of those attempts where I let off the gas a little bit. I was in the gas and modulating it with my rear brake and all those things. At this point, there might be some confusion on what to do. Ask the stunner people in your area on what bike it is that you're using, what tire pressure you should be using. As you get better at this and start focusing more on balancing left to right, you might be able to increase your tire pressure. I'm running 12 right now on this Grom. You might be a lighter person and you might be able to get away with even less, or you might be a heavier person, you might need a little bit more. But I previously had this at 20 PSI, but that's just, it's a matter of preference. But again, a wise decision is to start with a Grom. If you start with a Grom, you get it ready to go, you like it and you keep it, or you move on to something else. But it's always nice to have a little pitter that you can go do whatever it is that you want to do. So we're going to go on board here, and then we're going to work through a few drills that you can deal with, and then we're going to, do some practice, and then you'll see from my perspective, for the most part, what it looks like to be at that point, okay? So we're going to go on board, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, we're back. We're on the Grom. We're sitting here. We're in helmet mode. I've got my tripod setting over there. But one thing is important that I didn't tell you about earlier. I've got my keys setting down there, and I also have my phone setting there on the curb. Not something that you can necessarily get away with a bunch of sketchy people around. But if it's not in your pockets, it's not going to, one, get broken, and it's also not going to hurt you in case, God forbid, something happens. Speaking of God, I want to let you know, I want to branch out in this channel a little bit. I'm by no means a person that is blessed with the anointment of God to be a preacher, but I want to incorporate this as much as I possibly can. So this is a very difficult thing to do for many, and it's going to take some work. But I want to encourage you from the Bible, the New King James Version, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Some other versions it might say through him, but we're just going through what it says in the New King James Version. So there's some encouragement for you. I'm a believer, and I don't try to be pushy about that, but I want to give you some encouragement. So this isn't a devotional channel. I like a devotion, but, keep your head up. If you don't believe, I hope that you do sometime. Anyway, I wanted to incorporate that. So we're going to do some reps here, and then I'm just in first gear, And I'm going to show you from my perspective. We're going to go from this south end of this parking lot, and you can see it's kind of got some tar snakes on them. You can tell, oh, there's something on the ground. There's some tar snakes, there's some cracks, and it's not exactly flat. But again, here's our thing. Pulling the clutch, stabbing the rear brake, and clutching the brake. Oh, and see, I kind of got a little sidetracked there, and it kind of bobbed a little bit. When you're trying to talk at the same time as you're trying to do wheelies on a Grom on an uneven parking lot, stuff going to happen. So same sort of thing. See how it came back farther? And I'm running out of real estate. And notice how I didn't let off the throttle. I brought it down, I modulated the throttle, and I brought it down with the rear brake, still on the throttle. Here it's slowing down. That's the point where you want to, where you're not making big inputs of throttle and brake. That's when you got it made. You can do it for as long as you have road to do it on. So that's the same sort of thing. Every wheelie is going to be different. And so again, just to go back through it on here, what we're doing, and I'm not going to clutch it up this time. We get up to our cruising speed. I pull in the clutch, stab the rear brake. When I'm stabbing the rear brake, my RPMs are going up, and that's where I dump the clutch. And you can overdo it. And that's why, I mean, I want people to have successful attempts at this. And that's one of the reasons why I don't recommend people starting. This is just my own preference, starting with the foot down and going slow. But that, you can just have a cruising speed, and that inertia, see, I'm kind of fighting it a little bit. See, I was still on the gas when it came down. And another thing that you're going to need to do as you do more of this, you can't necessarily do it as much with the right leg. When you need balance, and you need to make an adjustment to keep going in a straight line or going out into an area where you don't want to be, what you're going to have to think about doing is moving around on the bike. Again, maintaining your body position, staying loose. Let's see if I can demonstrate some of that for you. See how my left leg is kind of moving around a little bit? While I'm keeping my right relatively close to base there, so my foot is in good proximity to the rear brake lever. See how I'm moving my bars around? Really wanting to show that. And in a wheelie, and generally, if I don't want to go to the right, or if like I'm on a crowned road or something, if I'm finding myself going this way in one wheel, the feel that we're trying to show is that you want to steer slightly towards that. And then in the other aspect, that offset can be done by your leg that's pivoting over here on the left-hand side. Again, and some of you may be tempted, especially on the Grom, to like, oh no, I'm running out of RPMs, I better shift. That may end up badly because you get back down into the grunt, the torque of the power of the Grom, which is very, very poor, and it can come on really quickly. So don't do that. Just stay in the gear until you develop a feel. And if you want to do that, do so at your own risk. Let's do a couple more reps here. See, I was going a little slower when I started that one. Well, this is a pretty good little tight lot. And this is perfect for Grom. Nobody's bothered me. I'm not bothering anybody. See how I'm steering it a little bit? Again, I was on the gas when I brought it down. A couple more reps here, and then we're going to close this one out here. See, I gave it a little bit more gas when it dipped down. The Grom doesn't have power, but you can get away with a little bit. See, that wasn't a good, I got out of my repetitions on there, and so that didn't end up well for me. We're going to end up on a positive note. I'm starting to get a little fatigued, so, hey, your boy's older, man. Give me a break. Got to end on a positive note. We're slowing it down. I could scrape it if I wanted to in this lot. This lot's great. See how I'm tying it all together? Okay, we're going to go back on the tripod here, so bear with me, and we're going to close this out, and we'll end up with an outro here. All right, so there you have it. We've given you some drills to work on, given you a perspective on how to wheelie the Grom. How do you think I do? Did I do all right? Did I leave something out? Do you have any questions? Make sure and leave them in the comments. Always make sure and wear your helmet, your gear, and be safe. Remember, do as I say, not as I do. And that comes from me, and my name's Dewey. So, Dewey's Garage. Make sure and like and subscribe. And if you have any more questions, I might even do a video on it. This lot seems to be working out pretty good for me. What do you guys think? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.